Huge Kratom update, everybody. Tell all your friends that don't already know. I am pretty sure that if one of your friends is into Kratom, then they probably already know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just assuming that everybody is as connected as I am or whatever. But I'm pretty well connected and I'm pretty highly plugged in. And it's been a while since I've talked about Kratom, so I'm going to go into the, the big deal right now is that you go make a comment to the DEA about Kratom and tell them that you think that it should not be put on the Controlled Substances Act, and certainly not in the designated area of number one, because that's terrible. That would make everybody a criminal that is in the Kratom community, and that's just sad because these people are not bad people. These people are not criminals. Let's just cut right into it. In a sign of their distrust for the federal government, Kratom community activists have created their own website for supporters to submit comments to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration on proposed classification of Kratom as a controlled substance. Now, before I get any controversy from anybody about this new website that was made by the American Kratom Association, please keep in mind that I've read this a couple times. I've looked at both pages. I've made my comment on the one here called kratomcomments.org, and then it made a serial number. By the way, I looked at the numbers too, and it didn't register yet, but I'll get into that later. When I hit the submit button, it gave me a number. Now, I looked at where the numbers are, and it looks like I'm in there, like my comment will be counted and it will be a comment. So, I guess there was some fear that if you submit your comment through this, it's not going to get seen there, or if you're confused and you submit them on both places, then they're going to scrap it. I don't really think that's a thing. I've been in database management before, as in digital database management, where you scan in physical documents and categorize them in the digital library. And what you get is you get names, you get addresses, you get email addresses, and those are things that are qualifiers in the database. And if you already have one of those qualifiers in there, boom, it'll open it up. And if the comment's the same, then hey, double good. It's all good. One of them just cancels out the other. The thing about it is there's only one number per person per comment. But there's also the option of anonymous commenting. But as long as you get that number, like when you're done and you submit at the end, at the page, it'll give you a number. You use that number and you can verify that your comment was received at the DEA's actual website. Now, if you don't want to worry about all that, you can just go right to the DEA's place. It's called Regulations.gov. You can't, you go there and you will immediately find out what you got to do. You'll see where it says the Mitrogena Speciosa comment section, and you only got until December 1st. So I'm giving you a lot of information right out of the hat here. I'm sure if you do know what I'm talking about, you will follow it. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're like, man, it's a lot to absorb. All right, I'm gonna iron that back out. So the reason they made this new place because Regulations.gov had issues at first. Comments were basically just disappearing into thin air. People weren't getting their registration numbers when they made the comment. A lot of the problems were that people thought that their comment wasn't counted because when they clicked submit, the number in the comments received thing on the side of the website didn't move. It just stayed at the same number. And then their registration number that they got to them seemed like it might have never came up. But the next day, if they would have went back there and maybe even refreshed their web page browser, their comment was received and their registration number by then was probably surpassed. Anyhow, so there was that. But just because of that, they made the kratomcomments.org, and it was a great thing that they did because it's not just a place where you submit it and then you got a couple monkeys running on wheels to print out the comment on a piece of paper, and then a dove flies it over to the DEA's Regulations.gov office and flies it in, taps on the window. It doesn't work like that. It works like this. You push a button and you can look at it. It's like a preview. And then you can push another button to submit it, and it'll submit it right to the DEA with you got to fill out your name and information first, and it'll submit it. It'll fill their form out with the information that you put in their website, and it will work. If you don't trust me, just go to regulations.gov once again. So I'm not trying to do any advertising, but this was all made possible by some software used by the website, which was made by the Soft Edge Incorporated, TSE. And that was just because they were concerned. Because, see, here's what happens is if you submit a submission and somehow it doesn't go to the DEA's place and it doesn't get submitted as a comment there, then it'll still be in the database at Soft Edge Inc. maybe, or at American Kratom Association. And when it's all said and done at December 1st, they're going to compare how many submissions that they got, how many submissions that they know that the DEA had gotten without them, because that's an easily cross-referenced number. And then they're going to figure out, okay, this amount of signatures just didn't, make it from us to the DEA, because once again, it's easily checked. They have signatures that has registration numbers that the DEA don't have registration numbers for, or registration numbers weren't actually made, and that, there's a lot of other things that can happen. See, databases are kind of funny. They don't always work 100%, and I think the glitches were mainly on the DEA's Regulations.gov side of the thing, and I think a lot of that was admitted to later on by the DEA, so who knows what happens in reality, but this doesn't really get into all that. So I'm going to get this out of here. Again, AKA is saying kratomcommons.org is the best way of protecting the Kratom community, and this is according to Director Susan Ash. No comments can be lost due to glitches at regulations.gov. That site has been down already and no one knows what was lost. kratomcommons.org ensures that comments made will be independently stored and recorded just in case they go down. They will be there for when they come back up. Boom, they'll get submitted. And that statement was made about a month ago, or not quite, but just about a month ago. That statement was released. Since then, I don't think the DEA's regulations.gov site has had any further problems that I know of. If I'm wrong, mention it in the comments. That would be cool. I'd like to know. American Kratom Association Director Susan Ash said, "Today we are telling the Kratom community that it's now or never. That is it. We only have 2 weeks left to be heard. We know that there are tens of thousands of YouTube videos on this topic and that more than 140,000 people signed the White House petition on Kratom. We need to hear from those people now. I am personally appealing to those of you who know Kratom to take the time to go to kratomcommons.org and speak out today." Ash added, "If you've already sent a comment to the DEA directly or through kratomcommons.org, please make it your mission this week to find 5 other people in the Kratom community and or family members who have witnessed positive changes in your life as a result of Kratom, and encourage them to send comments. We need to have 10,000 comments in front of the DEA to make sure our voices cannot be ignored. I'm appealing to you, to each and every one of you with a story like my own, to help get this done." The Kratom Comments website, .org, by the way, simplifies the process of submitting comments to the DEA and the regulations.gov, and also provides Kratom community members with an assurance that there will be an independent record of their submission. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The American Kratom Association is proud to have been instrumental in helping to coordinate a broad-based national opposition to the DEA's attempt to effectively ban Kratom prior to the reversal by the DEA in October of the emergency scheduling process, where they were going to literally put it in Schedule 1 without comment. The American Kratom Association played an integral role in circulating a We the People petition targeting the White House that has accumulated more than 1,000 signatures to date, promoting a successful and widely publicized March for Kratom in September at the White House, facilitating letters to the DEA and office management and budget sent on this September 26th by a bipartisan group of 51 U.S. House members urging to halt the DEA's push to ban Kratom, encouraging a set of two letters sent on October 1st by a politically diverse group of 11 senators, including Senator Orrin Hatch, Senator Rob Whedon, and Senator Cory Booker, calling on the DEA to halt the proposal scheduling and allow for a regular rulemaking process permitting the public, scientific experts, and Congress to provide input. And that's it. And like I said, so far, 5,675 comments have been submitted to Regulations.gov. Make that 5,676. And whoever watches this, please go to Regulations.gov, or like I said, it's also still up and running. It's called KratomComments.org. Either one, not necessary to go to both, but either one of those will get you there, and that is where you want to go to submit your comment about Kratom. And if you don't know about Kratom, take 5 and go just check it out, research it a little bit. I'll give you a quick 2-second thing here. It's basically just ground up leaves, and you take like a couple of tablespoons of that, and boom, you're out, man. I mean, I don't know about out, but you're down for the count like you just took a couple of Vicodins or something. It's really heavy duty. You can take a lighter dose. It's more like a stimulant, I've heard. I took a really super light dose, like a tenth of, or maybe it was just a big fat capsule, and someone was like, no, you should have took about 5 of those just for the light dose. But anyway, you take a couple of tablespoons. You got to mix it with something because it's gross. It tastes like you just like picked up some grass that you just ripped out of the ground and started chewing on it. It's not an actual opiate, but it does act on the opioid receptors, but it doesn't take the same protein pathway to get to the receptors, which makes it safe. It makes it so you cannot die from doing too much of it. It doesn't depress the respiratory system or cause constipation, the 2 most common causes of death with opioids. So there you have it. The DEA came in out of nowhere and said, boom, we're going to make this illegal. We're going to put it on the schedule, on the Controlled Substances Act, as a Schedule 1 narcotic, right next to heroin and morphine. Or not morphine, I'm sorry. Morphine's like a Schedule 2 or 3. But heroin or methamphetamine, there you go. That's a Schedule 1. Marijuana is a Schedule 1. LSD is a Schedule 1. Apparently, these things have no medical value and are highly addictive. So they crack down hard on it, as you know. So if they did make this ban happen on September 1st, or maybe sometime in September, the ban was supposed to come down, and the Kratom community, led by the American Kratom Association, came together, did all these actions that I just mentioned earlier, and the DEA pumped the brakes in a big way. Before the actions, they didn't feel like they were going to, their actual public comment was that they didn't want to have there's not going to be any public comments on this. This is going to go down, and you guys are just going to deal with it. And, there's thousands of people in the United States that just kind of shook them to their core because they had quit opioids because of this, or they had kicked heroin. God forbid that, you kick heroin with an all-natural herb that's safe, and suddenly they make it illegal probably because of just what I said. And the pharmaceutical industry, they're probably the ones that originally pulled the strings all around the country whenever you see this Kratom madness. That's all. Like I said, go to the website or go to the Regulations.gov and